The afternoon sun filtered through the trees, casting a warm glow over the park bench where Joey sat. Dressed in a modest suit, he looked like any ordinary man, but his understated attire concealed his immense wealth. For Joey, this park was a rare escape from the relentless demands of his business empire, a place where he could find peace and blend into the background. As he sipped his coffee, Joey's eyes wandered to a group of children playing by a worn-out fountain. Their laughter echoed in the air, a stark contrast to their ragged clothes and unkempt hair, which spoke of a life far removed from his own. Yet their joy tugged at something deep inside him, stirring emotions he couldn't quite place. Among the children, his gaze settled on a teenage girl sitting slightly apart, drawing patterns in the dirt with a stick. She looked no older than 15 or 16, yet her eyes carried the weight of someone who had seen far too much in her short life. Her clothes were tattered and her face streaked with dirt, but there was an unmistakable strength in her posture that intrigued Joey. As she brushed her hair aside, Joey's breath caught. There on her neck was a small but distinctive birthmark. His heart raced. It was the same mark his ex-girlfriend Mia had, a detail that unlocked a flood of memories. Joey's thoughts spiraled as images of Mia filled his mind. Their love had been fiery and passionate, but also tumultuous. Their fights had driven them apart, and though they had always imagined their breakup as temporary, time had carried them in the separate directions. He hadn't seen or heard from Mia since, and had no idea she had been pregnant. Before his mind could fully process, Joey found himself standing and walking toward the girl, his heart pounding with each step. As he approached, she looked up, startled by the sight of a stranger looming over her. Joey hesitated, his voice trembling. "Hi there. I'm sorry to bother you, but what's your name?" The girl eyed him warily before answering softly, "Jasmine." Joey repeated her name, the sound familiar, as though he had known it all his life. "That's a beautiful name," he said, before nervously continuing. "I noticed your birthmark. It reminded me of someone. What was your mother's name?" Jasmine hesitated, then quietly replied, "Mia." Joey's legs felt weak, and he sank onto the bench beside her, his mind reeling. "Mia," he whispered almost to himself. She was my girlfriend a long time ago." Jasmine glanced at him, confusion flickering across her face. "You knew my mom?" she asked cautiously. Joey nodded, his voice thick with emotion. "Yes, I knew her. I didn't know she had a daughter. I didn't know about you." Jasmine's expression hardened, her eyes dropping to the ground. "She didn't talk much about the past," she said flatly. "She died a few years ago. Car accident." Her voice was devoid of emotion, as though the words had been repeated so many times they had lost their weight. Joey felt as if the air had been knocked out of him. Mia was gone. He hadn't been there for her in her final years, and worse, he hadn't been there for their daughter. Guilt washed over him in waves. "I'm so sorry," he murmured, his voice breaking. "I had no idea." Jasmine shrugged, her tone cold. "It's fine. I've been on my own for a while now." Joey's heart shattered. This girl, his own flesh and blood, had been surviving alone while he lived in luxury, oblivious to her existence. I don't know how to say this," he began, his voice trembling. "But I think I'm your father." Jasmine's head snapped up, her eyes wide with shock. "What?" Joey quickly tried to explain. "Your mother and we were together a long time ago. We broke up, and I didn't know she was pregnant. If I'd known, I swear I would have been there." Jasmine stared at him, her mind racing. "You're my father?" she asked, her voice a mix of disbelief and accusation. "Yes," Joey whispered, tears spilling from his eyes. "Jasmine, I'm your father." For a moment, neither spoke. Jasmine's emotions swirled, anger, confusion, and a flicker of hope. "You left us," she said, her voice trembling with pain. "I didn't know," Joey repeated softly. "I would never have left if I had known." Jasmine wanted to be angry, but the sincerity in his eyes gave her pause. Slowly, Joey reached out, placing a tentative hand on her shoulder. "I'm here now," he said. "I want to make things right." Jasmine stared at Joey, her emotions a tangled mess. She wanted to yell, to demand why he hadn't been there, why he hadn't known. But beneath her anger, there was something else, a small, fragile sense of hope that maybe, just maybe, she didn't have to be alone anymore. Joey's voice broke through her thoughts. "Come with me," he said gently. "You don't have to live like this anymore. Let me take care of you." Jasmine hesitated. She glanced at the other kids playing by the fountain, her makeshift family for so long. Then slowly she placed her hand in Joey's, letting him lead her away. That evening, Joey brought her to his penthouse, a place she could never have imagined. The room he gave her was larger than anything she'd ever called home, with a bed that felt like a cloud. For the first time in years, Jasmine slept peacefully. In the days that followed, Joey took swift action to make Jasmine's life stable. He contacted his legal team to begin the process of formally adopting her, ensuring that no one could take her away. He wasn't just bringing her into his home, he wanted her to know she truly belonged. One afternoon, after a meeting with his lawyers, he sat Jasmine down in the penthouse's grand living room. "I've taken care of the paperwork," he said gently. "You're officially my daughter now." Jasmine blinked at him, unsure how to respond. I know you're my dad, but why all the legal stuff?" she asked, her voice uncertain. Joey smiled. "It means no one can take you away from me. You're part of my family now, in every way that matters. You can even have my last name if you want." Jasmine hesitated, the idea both comforting and strange. "I think I'd like that," she said softly. With the legalities resolved, Joey shifted his focus to Jasmine's future. He enrolled her in an elite private school and hired tutors to help her catch up on the education she had missed. At first, Jasmine struggled with the structured life, but Joey's unwavering support helped her adjust. He attended parent-teacher meetings, encouraged her through tough assignments, and celebrated every milestone. As weeks turned into months, Jasmine began to excel. Her natural intelligence and resilience shone through, and for the first time in her life, she felt a sense of purpose. Outside of school, Joey made sure Jasmine experienced the childhood she had been denied. They visited art galleries, museums, and even traveled abroad during summer vacations. Each new experience opened Jasmine's eyes to a world she had never known, and their bond deepened with every passing day. Joey wasn't just providing for her materially, he was actively involved in her life. Over dinners, they shared long conversations. Jasmine was curious about Joey's journey from poverty to becoming a billionaire, and he encouraged her to ask questions and dream big. He wanted her to believe she could achieve anything she set her mind to, but Joey understood that Jasmine needed more than opportunities. The years of hardship had left emotional scars, and she still struggled with the loss of her mother. Recognizing this, Joey arranged for her to see a therapist, someone she could talk to about her grief, fears, and the whirlwind of changes in her life. Through these sessions, Jasmine slowly began to heal. Joey remained her constant support through every quiet moment and milestone. He was there for her first day at school, her first art exhibit, and even her first time winning a debate competition. Each achievement filled him with pride, not just because of her success, but because he saw her blossoming into the person she was meant to be. As years passed, Jasmine grew into a confident young woman. Her experiences with homelessness and poverty inspired a passion for social justice. With Joey's encouragement, she decided to pursue a law degree, determined to use her education to fight for the rights of those who were marginalized, just as she once had been. Joey couldn't have been prouder. Watching her stand tall and advocate for others brought him a deep sense of fulfillment. He saw in her a reflection of the values he held dear: resilience, compassion, and a determination to make a difference. Jasmine had become a force for change, using her own story to inspire others. On the day Jasmine received her law degree, Joey sat in the audience with tears in his eyes. He thought about how far they had come, about how fate had brought them together after so many lost years.